Welcome, exiles! Today we have something, well, some kind of experiment. This is One With Nothing Cyclone Gladiator, but with a twist. Now it does something that Berserker does, and that is doing Rage and Berserk. And Berserk is really OP, to be honest. So this is some kind of unholy combination. Gladiator plus Berserker. Is it Gladiator? That one sounds nice. Or is it Gladiator? That one also sounds, I don't know, weird but nice. Or is it Gladiator? Yeah, I don't know how to name this thing. All of them sound a bit weird, but it also sounds interesting. Maybe Gladiator because it's Gladiator in its base class, so yeah, but let me know if you come up with some interesting twist with this. Now, if you haven't been following with my Berserker project, this is basically what I'm doing there too. I'm stacking Warcry notables on medium cluster jewels, and stacking cluster jewels is kinda a theme of this season. If you wanna make some ridiculous build, this is the way to do it. I mean, there's that Herald stacking, now there's Warcry stacking for melee builds, and how this works is basically you have two notables that you want. One is Mob Mentality, which says you and your nearby enemies get 5 rage whenever you Warcry, and you stack as many as you can of these. I have 5 of them, and you need at least one Cry Wolf, well, not at least, but one Cry Wolf on one medium cluster jewel, so that way you count as there are 10 nearby enemies, so every time you Warcry, regardless if there are enemies around you, you're going to still generate rage from Warcrying. This way you have rage. Rage by itself is going to give you 50% increased attack damage, 25% increased attack speed, and 10% increased movement speed. On a Berserker, this is actually tripled by Ascendancy, but here we get that as an extra bonus. Then, since you have Rage, you can go Berserk. Berserk is sustained for quite long time, even though we don't have Rage support in our 6 link, because we're Warcrying so frequently and we're generating so much Rage through that, it's not like needed. So what do you get with Berserk? Well, you get 20% more damage with attacks. So that's like on top of everything, additional 20% more damage. Then you get additional 20% more attack speed, which is not like needed, but it's an extra damage, guys. Even though we're hitting like, well, 20 times a second. Hitting a bit faster shouldn't like be bad thing. Then we get 30% more movement speed. This is actually more than we get with the Gladiator's Arena Challenger. Then we take 19% less damage. So Gladiator was already tanky. With this on, it takes 20% less damage, so yeah. And character size increased by 25%, so our AoE is also bigger, because if you increase the character size, you actually increase the AoE by that. And then Rage basically works by every second you lose 20% more Rage, so at some point it has to go down. But the cooldown with second wind thrown on top of it is around 4 seconds, so you kind of berserk for a minute, I think, then it goes down for 4 seconds. Yeah, that's good in my books. So what did I do with this? Well, I could redo my Ascendancy a bit on Gladiator and make it even more ridiculous. The main thing that changed in our build, well, the skill tree changed too, but the main kind of deal here is we're no longer using Arena Challenger, which was giving you 20% more movement speed and attack speed, which is really good, but we already get that from Berserk. You could stack both of them for some ridiculous movement speed and have fun with that, honestly. And we removed this block node here. making us a bit more like less cannony, but since we get 20% reduced damage from Berserk, I'm kind of fine with removing this. And we went into this side. Now this side is for bleeds and blood explosions, so this is bleeding enemies you kill deal 10% of their maximum life as physical, 25 more damage with bleeding. So we went into a bleed build kinda here in explosions, which is interesting. This is probably one of the best explosions that you can get, but on the Gladiator every other node is pretty juicy, so people don't usually get this that often. But since we could remove this side with because we are berserking, we have movement speed is no longer an issue, then I went and did that. The other thing that happened is that I have a bit more dexterity than before because I did a new skill tree. New skill tree is inspired by Berserker build. It's actually pretty similar to my Berserker build. We used to go... It was completely different, like this brutal restraint used to be down here. The travel path is different. It used to go like this, now it goes like this for extra dexterity from this side. So here's like brown drill went here, then we go through here and use brutal restraint to gain dexterity from these nodes here, dex, dex, dex. So it's kind of not a waste to go through here that much, and we get a bit of life, a bit of damage here, and this brutal restraint also gives 5% dex here. We go through here. I didn't have points to put this in, but I would have even more dexterity if I did so, because I'm not level 100 yet here. We go through here, get more life, get to like the first cluster, because this is like a decent travel, and we anointed battle cries, so we can war cry instantly. And then we get here, nothing like too insane, hollow palm, you all know what it is, you've been following along with the build. Then we go into war cries mob mentality. Mob mentality, I explained how it works, but here it is. If you wonder where that is in a build, here it is. Then we have split personality, which gives 76 dex, 76 max life. It's pretty like far away from the start of the skill tree. Get another split here, gives 72. I got this block. I would really love to have block on cluster jewels, so deadly reparture plus deep cuts or plus feed the fury or derive the destruction. I know I always mix those two up, but the one that gives a leech, so life leech, not mana leech. So yeah, I would have to recraft some cluster jewels and see if I can hit that, but for now, like this one is giving me Devastator, which is pretty useless here now since we are already exploding them either way. But that's what I had on Berserker, and I just moved it here for a text drive. This is also somewhat not needed because we're already generating endurance charges all the time, and frenzies are nice, but I would like to generate them through blood rage probably and not through this, and respect these 3 points somewhere else when I can get block on large cluster jewels. Then we go into this Smite the Weak, deep cuts, again not like perfect combination, another mob mentality, another split personality. Go here, another mob mentality, split personality, and a cry wolf. We already went in the beginning of the video what this does, so I want to do it again. Polarity standard here, another split for 83 dexterity. Go in here, another like cluster jewel with deep cuts, preferably block chance too, but I don't have it. Another mob mentality, another split personality that gives 100 dexterity this time around. Going to here, another mob mentality and another split personality with another 100 dex. So this is where my dexterity comes from, if you've been wondering. Stacking splits, and that's all that you need to do. So this build ends up with it could have a bit more HP if I actually grabbed this and put split personality in there, but I wanted to grab this block here and I couldn't really grab the last block from here if I didn't have that last point there. So I don't have anywhere to kind of remove something. That's the whole problem. I could remove one of these jewels, but that kind of compromises my rage generation, which is not nice. And yeah, so the build explodes everything basically when you kill something, it explodes, so it gives you a lot more clear speed in maps. So it's pretty interesting. You could keep the old ascendancy if you wanted to, but this gives you more damage, more everything. You just have to figure out how to cap your block chance. If you don't want to use brutal restraint, there's one jewel that can be used that converts fire and to all res into block chance. That would give you 10% more block if you put it in. Let me just find this quickly. Okay, here's an example of that. This is the jewel, the Red Nightmare, and this jewel will give you, if you take a look at block chance in this instance, because there's a fire res up here and to all res like here, if we remove this, it's giving around 10% block chance. You can try it also in here if you wanted to, because there's a fire res to all res here. If you don't want to roll brutal restraint, this would be a nice way to get another 10% block chance. And I didn't know about this jewel. This is Durzo's build. He managed to push his Gladiator up to 80 million damage. It's ridiculous. But I don't have the gear that he has. He pushed it with the gear up to 80, and he did some shenanigans with phase run, which I'm still not doing, but I plan to start doing them once I have another unset ring. So this is kinda everything, how it works. I don't know how far I will push this whole idea. I have to also push my berserker. So, if I could do both at the same time, I would love to do that. I had few other ideas while I was recording this video. I had few other ideas. I'm always getting ideas and I cannot test everything, unfortunately. So yeah, try this out if you wanna mess around with your Gladiator, if you got bored from just a regular build how it was. If you wanna get explosions in your build, try this out, it's really fun. If you don't wanna try this out, at least like give this skill tree a go. You could make it even better. You could use Durzo's actually. I will share this one with you also, but this one is for level 100. It's really hard to kind of cap your block chance with it, because you wouldn't really have enough points to get these things if you're kind of lower level, because he went into this side for a really long pad, but he also got he got a lot of dexterity out of it. So if you want to kind of get something that's crazy, this is like the skill tree for you. I will try to make my own, maybe tiny bit different than his, but this is like min-max skill tree that's really good. So I will share that one also with you guys, and the one that I made today with explosions. So have fun with this. Let me know if you managed to change it somehow and make it better and make it more interesting. I'm always happy to take a look at some crazy POBs. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one.